Welcome and thank you for being here. In this Microsoft AZ-104 and AZ-500 certification-ready lab, we'll work through today's task. Create a virtual machine and protect it with Azure Resource Locks. Detailed step-by-step lab instructions are linked in the description for those who want to follow along. Scenario setup. This scenario gently sets the mood for today's lab. It places you in a calm, focused environment where learning happens without pressure. From here, we move step by step into Azure, building and protecting resources with clarity and purpose. It was a quiet morning. Mr. X-2 had just finished his tea in a small cafe near his cloud security workspace. The day felt calm, focused, and ready for learning. He stepped into the Azure Lab Room, a space filled with light, clarity, and curiosity. Casper greeted him warmly and said that today they would secure something important. Sophia looked up from her notes and explained that in this lab, Mr. X-2 would create a virtual machine and protect it using Azure Resource Locks. These locks help prevent accidental changes or deletions. Simple, but powerful. Mr. X-2 paused and asked what a lock in the cloud really meant and whether keys were needed. Casper smiled and replied that no keys were required, only intention. Task 1. Creating a virtual machine. In this step, you begin by creating a virtual machine in Azure, laying the foundation for everything that follows. It's a calm, careful start, setting up a server that you can later protect and manage with confidence. Mr. X-2 opened the Azure portal, moving slowly and paying attention. Casper guided him to create a new resource and choose Virtual Machine, describing it as building a small server in the sky. Sophia suggested first creating a resource group named Nordic Resources, explaining that it would hold everything together. Mr. X-2 understood this as organizing the space before building anything, much like preparing before starting work. They named the virtual machine Nordic VM. Sophia guided the availability setting and security type, recommending no infrastructure redundancy and selecting trusted launch for additional protection. Casper suggested using Ubuntu Server 20.04 LTS for stability, while Sophia recommended the B2 South size for balance. Mr. X-2 carefully set a strong username and password. For storage, Casper advised using standard SSD because it is reliable and cost-efficient. After reviewing all settings, they clicked Create, and the virtual machine quietly came to life. Task 2. Protecting the virtual machine with a delete lock. As Mr. X-2 looked at the running virtual machine, he wondered what would happen if someone deleted it by mistake. Casper explained that this is where resource locks come in. He guided Mr. X-2 to the settings menu and then to locks. Sophia instructed him to add a new lock named VM Delete Lock and set the lock type to delete. Casper explained that this means the virtual machine cannot be deleted unless the lock is removed. First, Mr. X-2 smiled and said that the system could still work, but could not disappear. Sophia described this as protection without restriction. Task 3. Locking the resource group. In Task 3, we extend protection beyond a single resource to the entire resource group. This reflects how real cloud environments are managed, where stability and intentional change matter most. Casper then suggested protecting the entire environment. They opened the resource group Nordic Resources and navigated to locks. Sophia instructed Mr. X-2 to add another lock named Argeread. Casper explained that this time the lock type should be set to read-only. Mr. X-2 immediately understood that everything could be seen, but nothing could be changed. Sophia described this as clarity without risk. Now that the lab is complete, this is a good moment to pause and reflect. You've seen how resource locks protect a virtual machine from accidental changes or deletion, and why removing those locks is an important part of cleanup. In real cloud environments, this balance matters: protection during operation and intentional control during cleanup. Sophia suggested testing the setup by trying to delete the virtual machine. The system stopped the action. Casper explained that to clean up later, the locks must be removed first. And only then can the virtual machine and resource group be deleted safely. Mr. X-2 leaned back and reflected that these locks felt like invisible shields, quiet, firm, and respectful. Real-world meaning. How this lab shows up in real cloud environments, and why this lab matters beyond the exam. This lab teaches something very real, something you'll actually encounter in real cloud environments, where small configuration choices can prevent big problems. In real environments, mistakes happen quickly. Resource locks slow things down just enough to prevent damage. They do not block progress. They protect intention. Knowing how to use them means you do not just build systems, you guard them. A note from me. You might be wondering who I am and why I create learning like this. My name is Muhammad Naveed Ishaq. I create learning experiences like this for people who want clarity without pressure and understanding without noise. Through stories.com explanations and human-centered design. I transform technical labs into experiences that can be felt, not just followed. I focus on explaining how systems work, why they matter, and how you can apply them with confidence in the real world. This work is created with care. And with the quiet presence of X2, the inner voice behind the learning. Closing. At this point, you've completed the lab. You've seen how to create a virtual machine in Azure and how to protect it using resource locks to prevent unintentional changes or deletion. These are small steps, but they reflect real-world cloud responsibility. If this story helped you understand cloud security a little more clearly, you are welcome to stay here. This space is for learning without rush, for systems explained with care, and for technology that still feels human. More stories like this will follow, quietly, step by step. We'll meet again in the next lab. Until then, take care and keep learning at your own pace.